Live at NAPE, two historic women join the Crude Truth on this episode of the Crude Truth.
In 1901, at Spindletop Hill near Beaumont, the future of Texas changed dramatically as, like a fountain of fortune, thousands of barrels of oil burst from the earth towards the sky. Soon, Detroit would be cranking out Model Ts by the millions, and America was on the move, thanks to the black gold being produced in Texas. Now, more than a century later, the vehicles are different, but nothing else has truly changed. Sure, there may be many other alternative energy sources like wind and solar and electric. But let's be honest, America depends on oil and entrepreneurs, and if the USA is truly going to be independent, it has to know the crude truth.
This episode is brought to you by LFS Chemistry. We are committed to being good stewards of the environment. We are providing the tools so you can be too. NAPE Expo, where deals happen. Air Compressor Solutions. When everything is on the line, Air Compressor Solutions is the dependable choice to keep commercial business powered up. Sandstone Group. Exec Crew. Elevate your network, elevate your knowledge. Texas Star Alliance. Pecos Country Operating. Fueling our future.
Hello again, and here we are back live at NAPE 2025. And as you can already see, I have two women that are with me today that I just cannot thank enough. Massiel Diez and Jamie Elrod. Ladies, flipping the freaking barrel is here on the Crude Truth. Ladies, how are y'all doing?
We are doing great. It's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you again for inviting us. Very overdue. We've been waiting for that invite, but no, we're very happy to be here. Thank you.
No, y'all too. I'm excited to have y'all here. Thank y'all so much because y'all are so busy right now. I mean, let's just dive into what y'all have been up to before we even get into what everybody already knows about y'all.
So I guess quick rundown of what we've been doing for the last 5 years.
Yes.
Since we started the podcast is really building a community, focusing on highlighting a positive movement to the oil and gas industry, and really just helping each other out. Because as we're going through our careers, no matter where you're working, no matter what side of the industry you're in, you all need support, and that's the best way to get through a career and just through a journey in any industry. And so that's really what we're trying to do here. Yeah, so when we started in 2019, that was our first feeling into podcasts. We've never done one till then. And then about 2 years later, we started doing the events. Because like what Massiel said, it was for our community. We built so many people online that have been listening to us that we wanted everybody to get together. And so now we have 2 annual events, moving to 3 annual events a year. And that is hosted by Flipping the Barrel, brought to you by Flipping the Barrel, and we curate it for our community. So we love hearing from them on what they want to hear, who they want to see at these events. So it's been really exciting. And our next event actually is coming up really soon.
Yes.
It's March 20th, called Pursuing Greatness. And so we're gearing up for that as well.
Now, if I'm correct, y'all had a big women's event several months ago, like a few months ago. I think if I'm just kind of following social media before you had your newest baby, y'all had, it was like 500 people there or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
so through Flipping the Barrel, we've both had babies in between, trying to juggle everything. So we've been through 2 maternities, 1, and yeah, literally before almost every event, we're both pregnant, and we still have to make sure everything gets done. We're always trying to make it where you're not delivering a baby while the event is on, because that would suck. But the timing has been on our side, and yeah, I think Jamie had a baby like 2 months before the event, so that was good.
Well, which what event was that? Just go, because like I said, it was huge.
So the 2 that Jamie mentioned we host about 500 people.
Yeah.
Pursuing Greatness is our women's event every single like Q1, so at the beginning of the year. This year is March 20th. And then the one called Representation Matters, that's men and women. That's always in the fall.
That's the
so
one.
It's like
that
every
was the
single
one.
year, same thing.
And y'all had it here in Houston, if I'm correct, at a
Yes.
real swanky.
Yes.
So it's like almost a hidden gem, this country club.
Oh yeah, Lakeside Country Club.
Yes.
A shout out to Brandon who helps us with that. But yes, it's at Lakeside Country Club. We started that about 2 years ago when our events grew to the max capacity of the Petroleum Club, which was 250 people. We outgrew that space, and so we were on the hunt for something new, and we have settled in the Lake Country Club, and we love it.
You know, let's talk about that for a sec. When you outgrew a 250 person space, girls, ladies, how did that make y'all feel, and what was y'all thinking at that time?
So that's a great story. When we actually first launched our very first event, we didn't know how to put on events. We've never done it. And I was at Jamie's house on a Sunday, both of our babies, mine was 6 months old, hers was 12 months. And we said, hey, we're going to do an event. let's post it on LinkedIn. Let's take a picture right now and just tell the world that we're going to do this thing with no plan. We didn't have a venue. We didn't have speakers. I mean, nothing.
We had nothing.
And we just did it. And that was like a way for us to be accountable of, we're going to do this. Let's tell all of LinkedIn, and then we're going to have to do it, because then it's going to suck if we don't. And then it just kind of trickled, and we make it happen. And, you know, a lot of people always ask Jamie and I, how do you guys do it? You know, how do I start a podcast? How do I, and we always go, do it.
Do it.
It's literally just take action on those things you want to do, and you can make it happen.
Yeah. No, I love how like y'all thought about it and did something. They'd say that if you do part of something in the first 24 hours that you think of an idea, that it can come to fruition.
Yeah. But a lot of people sit on the ideas forever, and they're like, oh, I had this idea too. Okay, what did you do with the idea? Nothing.
And I literally remember when Massiel sat there and looked at me and was like, we got to take a photo and we've got to post it. And I'm like sweating, because I'm like, how are we going to get even like 100 women to like come? Like, you know, and you're just sitting there at the computer waiting for people to buy tickets and just pray that you're like not a failure. So it definitely, and everybody feels that. And I think a lot of times people see us from the outside and think, oh, you know, they must have some like special luck, or I don't know.
We still stress out about this March 20th, where we're like, oh my gosh, we're not going to sell out. Nobody's going to come. So that never goes away.
Yeah.
There's always this, what if it doesn't work attitude, but you still have to kind of keep pushing. But to your point on what happened when we exceeded the 250, we planned for like 50 women to show up that day. We were like, if 50 people show up, like, this is success. And as we saw the tickets coming in and in and in, we had to call the Petroleum Club and say, hey, can you extend it to 100? Yes. Can you extend it to 150? Can you extend it? And we got to 250 and we're like, can we extend it? No. And we were like, whoa. So we didn't know.
Yeah.
We were scared that we would even get anybody to sign up, but we tried it and it worked out.
And what's fun is the Petroleum Club said that was the first time they've ever had that many women in the club. And we took over both of the bathrooms, and that was like not allowed apparently. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Wow. And you know, you guys have been an inspiration to women out there, because y'all have careers. Okay. Podcasting, you know, I joke and I tell people, oh, podcasting is something that I love to do. It's being, you know, great networking and things like that. But hey, I got to go out to the field. I got to do things. And so for you two, y'all have been literally an inspiration to women all over. I mean, again, with y'all's empowering women and taking over the Petroleum Club. Let's just talk about that for a sec. What a historic event, because look, the oil and gas industry has always been men dominated, right? You know, I just had on Ann Bradbury, who's the president of the American Exploration and Production Council. Being interviewed right now is Rachel Collins, who's the CEO of a W Energy, a large energy software company. Y'all are taking over. And it is just awesome to see you two again. I think I already said it once. They have the #1 oil and gas
you
podcast.
Heard it here.
Okay. And that's the Crude Truth.
True.
And because people want to know what y'all are up to. I'm trying to get on that Instagram game. I'm terrible at that. You guys y'all are doing this, and y'all are inviting people not only into y'all's careers and getting more women excited about the oil and gas industry, but y'all are inviting people into y'all's lives as well. And I mean, wow. And with everything y'all are doing, I just can't think. I'm gushing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love it. No, what we really try to do is be authentic. And so Massiel, through her posts on social media, through her videos that she does, myself with my posts, especially like regarding my children as well, to show that, you know, you can have kids and you can do this, and also show that it is difficult. Like, I have shared moments on social media where it's very hard, so that people don't only see what I post and think like, oh, she must have it all together. Oh, like I'm failing at being a mom, or I'm failing at my career. And that's totally not true. Like, we do not have it together. So we like to really share that from the career perspective, from the family life perspective. That way, like, people can see that, like, we're just human too. We're just out here trying to make it work as well. And we want more people to think of the industry in a positive light, and know that there's companies out there too that will support you in those transitions in your career. And so that's what we really try to showcase and do through our social media platforms.
Now, Massiel, your husband is Canadian, is that correct? Are you Canadian? I'm confused.
This is a very complicated question for
and
me.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to figure it out.
No matter which nationality I say, I get in trouble over it. So I was born in Colombia, but at the age of 4, I moved to Canada.
Okay.
So when I say they're like, well, no, you're not. You're Canadian, because you spent your whole life in Canada and you have a Canadian passport. But then when I say I'm Canadian and they get talking to me, they're like, yeah, but like, where are you really from? And then I'm like, well, Colombia. And they're like, well, why didn't you say Colombia from the beginning? So I don't know. I'm both.
Jeez. And then, Jamie, are you originally from the Houston area yourself, or no?
Yes, I'm originally from the Houston area, born and raised in Magnolia, Texas, which now I feel like everybody knows where that's at. But when I was there, they didn't.
It has blown up in
It
the
has
last 10 to
blown up.
12
Yes,
years. Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Very much so.
You know, for people out there that don't know, what is y'all's story? Like, I like you said, you're saying, hey, let's do the show or let's do a podcast. Where did y'all two connect? Because I don't know,
Our
right? It's like,
favorite
oh yeah, I'm sure y'all have told it. And to your listeners out there, I'm sorry, I need to know it.
You're not
okay?
listening to the podcast, obviously.
So tell me.
Okay, yeah, so I'll take it. So it's a pretty funny story, but I'll make it short because it started all on social media. So my husband, of all people, was following Massiel on Instagram.
Okay.
At this time I did not know Massiel existed, so I was not aware of her social media.
Okay.
And so my husband commented on one of her posts because she was at a place where him and I eat all the time. And so when she saw him like post on her DM, she was like, "Oh, this is a very like odd message." She's like,
He wrote me and said, "Oh, I know that salad. It's from this restaurant." And I'm
Oh,
like,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And then right after he said, "You need to meet my wife." And I just thought, what a weird message from a guy. That's not the kind of messages I get on Instagram.
Okay.
Caught my attention.
Yeah. And so then she was intrigued and was like, "Okay, tell me more." And then my husband proceeded to call me and say, "Hey, you need to meet this girl." And of course, I'm like, "Well, how did you meet her?" "Well, on Instagram." And so you can only imagine what took place at that moment. And then lo and behold, we met at Bella Green because that was one of our favorite places to eat.
Okay.
And her and I just hit it off immediately. 3-hour conversation. We felt like we knew each other for like years. We had so many things in common. A lot of it resonated in between like our careers in oil and gas.
Right.
How we felt that we didn't feel all the negativity that like a lot of women or a lot of the outside world feels. So we connected very deeply on that because for us, all men have been our mentors. Men have promoted us. Men have been there for us. And we were like, what can we do to like change the image of the industry and also give women an opportunity to come in and know that this is a place for them?
Yeah.
And so about 3 months later, I invited them over to our house, her and her husband, Tim. And then it was Jason and I, no kids at this point.
Wow.
And we were like, well, what can we do? And so started brainstorming. And about 15 minutes in, we were like, let's do a podcast.
Wow.
We like to talk.
Yeah.
Both of our husbands were just staring at us, talk and like, just about different topics about the industry and women and they're like, you guys should just start a podcast because you like to talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And they probably were like, go do a podcast and we don't have to listen to them.
Yes.
And so that was how it was born.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
People thought we were friends for years
I
before the
know-
podcast.
well, sitting here right now,
they went
yeah,
to
I mean-
college together. They grew up together. We never met.
Yeah.
We met 3 months later. We started the podcast.
And then
That's been the friendship here is the
Wow.
podcast.
and we opened the LLC together. We went to a bank together and like we shared.
Barely, I
Yeah.
didn't even know what your birthday was.
Yeah,
And we were
yeah.
bank account together.
Yeah. And it's been like a wonderful marriage ever since,
Holy
Yeah.
cow. And all over a salad.
all over our
Yes.
salad. We
Wow.
still love our salads.
Still go there.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm glad you brought it up because talking about, where the women at in this industry. First of all, absolutely, y'all bring a softer side to this, but y'all both have been out in the field. I mean, so let's not, you two are rough and tough and, and hard to bluff, as they say, right? Because y'all are in this industry. But where are the women like you guys that are building up the other women? And like you said, hey, there was no whatever, like, hey, oh my God, let's be successful. You be successful. And I think that is something else that you two are doing, that y'all are doing it for women again. Empowering women. That is what y'all are doing. I think that is so awesome.
We're very big into women supporting women because at the end of the day, for us, it's never been the men that haven't supported us. So we try to really showcase through our podcast and through the stories of those that we bring on, plus our own journeys on how important it is for other women to lift each other up because we're all in this together. And so that is really a big thing of like what we try to do with our community and through our events like Pursuing Greatness.
I got to ask y'all this, and I want to kind of dive into some things going on around the world and here in America. And first, I'll start with NAPE. Y'all were here last year, if I'm correct. Do y'all feel something different this year between last year and this year? Just the energy, or anything like that? What are y'all feeling this year at NAPE?
I think there's a lot more excitement on the industry. And I think there's a lot of like proud American oil and gas. We're kind of moving away from like trying to say we're not oil and gas and we're energy,
Yeah.
but let's call it what we are. We're oil and gas. And I feel like we've always been proud of that. But I feel like now things are turning a little bit and it's like, let's drill more. We need power. We need energy for the world. And
Right.
so I think the mindsets are slowly starting to change because they've realized how important this industry is,
Yeah.
especially through COVID, through the downturn, through like the, American with energy security. I think more and more people are realizing just how important this industry is.
Oh.
Yeah, I have to agree with Massiel. It's a very much pro oil and gas and pro being proud. And finally, again, we can like wave our flag and say, hey, we're here. We're not going anywhere. And you can really feel that here today at NAPE.
You know, you mentioned COVID just now, and y'all started in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's usually the thing they say, like, you know, a company, if they can last 2 years, right, then they've got it. Y'all lasted through COVID and just blew up. So I just want to say that.
Yeah. Well, I think COVID too was kind of like a blessing and a curse in a way, because people were now online. All of a sudden, people cared about wasting their time online, and that's YouTube, that's LinkedIn. I mean, I feel like any platform kicked off. Things like podcasts kicked off, YouTube kicked off. So I think for us, it was the perfect moment for people to focus on podcasts like Flipping the Barrel.
Exactly.
You know, as you guys have been interviewing, y'all are phenomenal guests on, first of all. But as y'all been talking to all these people, what are you kind of seeing a common trend now that President Trump's in office, and what you guys are seeing probably over the next, 2 to 4 years here as we go through this administration? What are your guests saying? You know, kind of a common theme.
Basically, that if you're a new generation, a young gen coming in, like this is the place for you. And we kind of mentioned it before, like we're not going anywhere. Oil and gas isn't going anywhere. There's a lot of opportunity still here today in the oil and gas sector. And you hear that a lot from every guest that comes on, especially the CEOs. They really talk about that next generation coming in and trying to ensure that, they have a place here. They have a succession plan, because that's one thing that's very important with the younger gen, is to know, like, where can I go next?
Yeah.
And also know that this industry is going to be here for life. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. You know, you talk about the next generation. Y'all really do very well about promoting the next generation and getting them excited about oil and gas. I mean, and just the energy sector. 2 years ago, you look at numbers of colleges
Nobody
where people
wanted to get a petroleum engineering degree.
Yes, ma'am.
No one wanted to come into the industry. But like Jamie said, I think people are starting to realize, like, hey, this isn't a bad industry. I may want to be here. And I think one thing that we haven't done well is promote ourselves as an industry on how heavily on technology we are, and how awesome the tools and the rigs that we have and the softwares that we're really using in the industry. I always kind of equate it to like NASA in a way, where it's like we can think about how hard drilling is through deep water, the pressures, the temperatures, the tools that need to get through like the bids to
even
the
when you think of
BHA,
fracking and
all
how
of it.
far down the
Cool
you're going
technology
miles
shit.
and miles underground,
Yes.
and you're able to send a signal. Like, how in the world? And so what we want to do with Flipping the Barrel, especially this year, is really showcase the technology. We're really focused on like doing technology driven panels, talk about women in tech, and not just women and their careers, but like what the women are doing to change the technology that we use today. Because it's so important. And like Massiel said, like we are like the NASA of the world, that people just don't see us in that way.
People don't see us as exciting, let's say, or at least the younger people didn't. But when you really think about what we do every day, it's pretty cool. It's literally like going to Mars every day
is.
with the amount of stuff that need to happen and go well.
Yeah.
y'all, I like what y'all are saying. Our background is actually in software. That's what my father did in the 80s and 90s, and he wrote custom software for several of the larger families in Fort Worth for like their accounting departments. And the personal computer came into life in the late 70s, early 80s, and by 83, 84, the oil and gas industry, like they've always been at the head of
They were
whatever
at the team. I
technology.
agree.
They're always at the head.
Yeah.
So I like that. We're the NASA. I like that
Yeah.
statement a lot. Holy cow. And thank you for bringing up what y'all are up to this year. What are y'all excited about? Who are some of these hard-hitting people that y'all are bringing on? And let's talk about y'all's event one more time to let people know about what y'all have got going on.
So we have a lot of guests coming on the podcast. As everybody knows, just the type of guests that we have on, because we do get asked a lot who can come on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we've made it where it's kind of a niche of C-suite executives, presidents, vice presidents, director level of companies, because the whole point of the podcast from the start was to be able to see everybody's story from where they were born to all the challenges, the ups and downs that it takes to get to where you are today, which is the top of a company, running billions of dollars or leading thousands of people. That's what was exciting to us at the start. And so it's like, those are the kind of people that we want to have on the podcast. And we have a lineup of amazing people. And I feel like every time I thought the pipeline is dry, it's like, whoa, there's this person. There's always so many great people that we just didn't know were there and that have amazing stories.
I just recently spoke with the CEO of Precision Drilling, and phenomenal guy. Really, his podcast is going to be really incredible. He had some very great advice, and then just also really shared like about his journey and how he got to where he is. Because what we see a lot of is people see a CEO, they see an executive, and they're like, wow, they've had it so, like, you automatically assume they've had life
had
so
it easy.
easy.
Yeah.
And we're here to debunk all of that because every single guest did not have it easy. So it's really great to share their stories and to share that part of their journey.
You know, we kind of mentioned the Instagram and things like that, and I've just gotten on that. I'm terrible at it compared to you two. And I saw something, so I don't know if it's new or not, but over the last couple of weeks, I've seen somewhere y'all were going out and just talking to people about oil and gas. And hey,
Our
what's
mini
your
mic
attitude?
series.
Yes, mini mic series.
Yeah.
And that's got to be fun.
We love it. We're going to make some more content soon. It's a lot of fun. It's nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, because we're like randomly going up to strangers, and a lot
some
of them
don't react that nice to it.
Yeah.
They're like, people are just like, who are you? Why are you here? Why are you filming me? Right? So good thing is we're both really good salespeople.
Yeah, so we're like, whatever.
shoot them in and get them to do the video. But some people just shut us down.
Yeah.
But it's been exciting.
More to come with that. We're actively looking for somebody to help us with that as far as a sponsor, somebody who wants to help us produce that content. But either way, we're going to be out there doing it, and we just think it's really needed in the industry.
Well, you talk about content. I think y'all have done some other real fun stuff of like, of course, I'm in oil and gas, and y'all do these things. So
Oh yeah, those did
we
good.
need to do more though.
if you happen to see a few things out there that I'm doing, I might have got them from them because y'all do, again, y'all are doing great things out there to promote the industry and that positivity. And we need to change the narrative that, hey, we are all humans. We all do care about the environment, and we're not just in it for ourselves. It's like, hey, it is a positive place and a positive community. You know, for those out there that don't know who you are, how can they get in contact with Flipping the Barrel, or, what is a good way to reach out to you guys, and how can they follow?
Yeah, no, it's very easy. So our website's www.flippingthebarrel.com. On LinkedIn, it's Flipping the Barrel. On Instagram, it's Flipping the Barrel. Our email is still flippingthebarrel@gmail.com. I know, Gmail, but we've had it for so long, we can't
That's
get rid of
okay.
it. And so literally you can find us on every platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, Flipping the Barrel.
Oh my God.
I do want to add
Yes.
one very exciting thing that we're launching.
Oh, okay.
yes.
So it's called Más allá del barril, and it's Flipping the Barrel in Spanish. We have two phenomenal hosts, two ladies who are in Latin America,
Okay.
and it's going to follow very similar path to Flipping the Barrel, but all in Spanish for Spanish-speaking community of oil and gas.
That is a
Don't steal the idea.
I mean, not a person.
We launched it here first.
Yeah. It's live, it's going.
I get it.
I'm kidding.
I get it.
Let them
That is
know.
exciting because
Yeah.
the Latin community is
There's so much oil and
huge.
gas on there
Yeah.
too, and I
Yes.
feel like
Yes.
they don't have their own thing.
Yeah.
They
No.
always listen to our stuff.
And when the
Yes.
idea came up, I was like, yes, because Latin America's like a cult and I want to be in it. So let's do it.
There's no such thing. I don't know what you're talking. Colombia is beautiful this time of year.
Yes,
And,
I'm sure.
yes, it's all nothing but nice people. So I don't know what you're talking about. But yes, it is awesome. How that is freaking genius. I mean, now I'm going to ask y'all a question, and I'm going to do it here. And is if you know part of what y'all do
Yes,
too?
it is.
Yes.
Okay,
I forgot to
that's the
mention that
Gen.
too.
That's the Gen
That's
Z
it.
stuff.
Yes, there
Okay,
you go.
that's okay. Yes, if you know.
Energy, if you know.
Yes.
We started it last year.
Yes.
And it was a focus for the Gen Zs of a Gen Z interviewing a Gen Z.
Yeah.
Because our podcast is C-suite.
Right.
And we felt like there was something missing because we were getting feedback from the younger generation saying like, okay, it's cool to listen to somebody who made it 30 years ago type
Yeah.
of thing. Like they started in such a different world. It's not applicable to us. So we felt like, okay, let's bring it a little bit lower where it's more relatable to them with somebody that's only 5 years ahead of them versus 30 years ahead of them. That was the whole point of it.
Yep. So we still have it. We just are going into our next round of episodes for it. I'm actively looking for another host because we like to do seasons with it. So if you're interested in
Nice.
energy, if you know,
We're
reach
looking for
out to us. We'd love to have a new host. New opportunity is available there.
Wow. Ladies, y'all are just awesome. And y'all have taken Flipping the Barrel
We flipped barrels.
Yeah.
literally. And it's y'all, I mean, there's no other way. International. Mrs. Worldwide's over here.
Yeah.
And I cannot thank y'all enough for the time. And I hope that we can do this again. And again,
We'll
I
come
would
to your
like to be
studio up in Dallas.
Yeah, please do. I would love, y'all have some little group called Midnight Marketing that I've heard about, and they do phenomenal work. I'd love to host all of y'all there sometime. And
Perfect.
I
We'll be
think
there.
that would be
We're there.
really fun. And we should do like an event there.
Hey, speak it into
Oh.
existence.
Oh.
Let's talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be real fun. That would be real fun. Well, again, for those out there, when is y'all's next big event?
March 20th at Lakeside Country Club. We're going to host up to 400 women. So come on, check us out. We'd love to have you there.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, again, thank you. I don't know if I've said it enough. Thank y'all so much for doing this. Massiel Diez, Jamie Elrod, Flipping the Barrel, live here at the NAPE Expo 2025. Thank you as always to all our listeners, and we'll see you again on another episode of The Crude Truth.
Again, the Crude Truth would like to thank today's sponsors: LFS Chemistry, NAPE Expo, Air Compressor Solutions, Sandstone Group, Exec Crew, Texas Star Alliance, Pecos Country Operating, and Real News Communication Network.
The easiest way to start your own podcast and TV show? Real News Communications Network. Stand out from your competition. Produce streams of high-quality social media content. Become a thought leader in your industry. With RNCN, you get to be the host. We handle everything else. Tour one of our 3 locations in Dallas, Fort Worth, and the Colony. Call 972-402-6333 or visit launchashow.com to find out more.